we have these conditionings, whether we like it or not, of what a family should look like. When you spend time with your family, you have these wants and desires coming from the mind, from the conditioned mind, mind you. It's really such a useful thing when you are practicing not following the mind as an authority, to observe what happens naturally in your life, what starts to happen naturally, and certain patterns that start emerging. When you are successfully bypassing the mind and following your real strategy and authority, the things that start arising as natural patterns are correct for you. And when you see the pattern, then you can allow it to become a correct part of your life for whatever time it is correct for it to continue occurring. So I want to talk a little bit about projectors, specifically children who are projectors. I think this will be specifically useful for anyone using or wanting to use human design with their families or for family work, because it is really a deep thing that happens when we are with 3 people or more, right? Thinking of a family as like a mother, a father, and a child, or whatever configuration you might have of that there are more energies at play, and so that there is more complexity to how we are supposed to move our energies, or how we can move correctly so that there is the least resistance possible. And this is what we're looking for in human design all the time. This is what we're here for, is to eliminate resistance. So Daniel, my husband, and Kai, my 6-year-old, just went trekking up the mountain, and I saw them making this picnic, getting this picnic ready. It had oranges and salami and crackers, and it looked really, really yummy. And so as they were kind of going out the door with this picnic in hand, I was kind of like, oh, maybe I want to go with you, because I had decided I was going to stay, or more, and this is a good example of how things start to occur as well, is not so much that I had decided, is that it didn't really present myself to that I was going to go. It didn't really happen that I was going to go. This is the way things start to feel, and that's why I'm like taking the time to like tell you in a different language that I wasn't going to go. They planned it and they were going, and I wasn't included in that picture for many reasons, none of them being bad reasons, none of them meaning anything bad about my family or my relationship to them. It just kind of didn't flow that way. So my intention was to stay here and work. I have a session tomorrow, so I'm like tuning into the person's energy. But yeah, that happened where they were like kind of preparing that and going out the door, and I was like, for a split second, I was like, maybe I want to go with them. But, you know, I quickly let go of that thought, because that's just what it is a thought. And then the new thought that arose, which is what I'm sharing with you today, is that it just has naturally occurred in our family. And here we come to these natural patterns that start surfacing when everyone is sort of left to live by their own terms. So it sort of naturally has occurred in our family that quality time with each other is done on a one-to-one basis, especially with Kai, my son. So all those times, all that like intentional time where we're like spending time with each other, where for me, for example, I'm striving to be as present as I can be, which I think is the biggest gift we can give our children, is giving them time where we're actually there with them, where they can ask a question and you can say, that's an interesting question, and you can respond with all your being, rather than like shrugging that question off because you're looking at your phone. So all these times where we're doing something specific that is quality, we end up doing it one-on-one. We end up doing it his dad with Kai and me with Kai. And I started thinking about how naturally this has occurred, and how it's really a positive thing for the projector child. The projector aura is so focused in and it has a different shape than any other aura, and it has this, right, projection forward, and it penetrates the other person in the G center. It's really intense as well, and it doesn't have this capacity to like fork or like divide the energy into two different people, for example, or even a group. Ra always used to say that when a projector walks into a room with two people, there's automatically going to be one person that is upset because the projector needs to choose unconsciously who they're going to put their aura into. They put their aura into that person, the other person ends up feeling left out. And it always works this way. And it is true, like, I try to look at our dynamic as a 3-person energy field. And it's difficult sometimes, the balancing of those energies, each one of us being so different, me being emotional, my husband being sacral, and Kai being, you know, a triple split splenic projector. So as a little confirmation, as they were leaving for their hike, Kai comes up to me and says, like, "Mommy, how about today we watch the sunset and we sit on the trampoline and we eat some treats together. We eat some snacks together." That's what he said. It's so funny because snacks are such a big thing for him. Every plan of his is centered around snacks. But anyways, he invites me into this plan of something that he knows that I like to do. He's connected to my generator satisfaction. He's learned that behavior from me of like watching the sunset, relaxing on the trampoline. And so he's like this, I think what he's doing unconsciously or consciously is being like, this is my time with daddy and here comes my time with mommy later. And it really is a beneficial thing. It's not like we never do things together. Sometimes we watch movies together, and of course that's an easier focus of the energy into the screen. We do other things together, but I'm starting to see this benefit for him as a person, for him as a child, to get recognition, to get attention from one of us at a time. And you can tell that it's like this learned aura that he has with me, and this learned aura that he has with his dad. Being a triple split as well adds to this, where it's like this energy is completely different to this energy, and it's beautiful because he gets to access different parts of himself with each one of us. So all this to say, why I'm bringing this to the table today is because we have these conditionings, whether we like it or not, of what a family should look like. When you spend time with your family, you have these wants and desires coming from the mind, from the conditioned mind you, of what you want to do. And so many times, at least for the women I know in my life, it comes like, we should do this as a family and we should do that as a family, and this is the definition of really spending time together, or this is the definition of really loving each other. And it just is not one size fits all for everyone. It is just so different for every single one. And of course, when you add more children to the mix, you have this whole mix of energies, mix of things, and no one correct right way of doing things, just each person's individual needs, each person's individual way to flow. And so life is just a way to constantly be in this stance of how can we lower resistance. And that the answer is always strategy and authority. The answer is always, how can I be the most myself without pushing or forcing anything just because my mind, give me a second, without pushing without pushing or forcing anything just because my mind is telling me that that's the way it should look like. So for me, it's beautiful having this experience with a projector child. If you are a projector, maybe you can look back on your experience and reflect whether you had that one-on-one attention and whether you didn't. That probably had a big influence on you, whether you did or you didn't. And if you have projector children, of course, maybe you can put this to the test and see, just remembering that everything is an experiment. There are no right answers, only the answers that you discover in your own process, in your own experimentation. So don't forget to be yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.